The conflict.
Maan stood still at the gate of his one-bedroom house in a low-income group society in city of Mumbai as rain poured heavily in the first week of July.
The heavy pouring rain was making loud sound, but nothing went into Mon's ear as he was lost in hearing the conflicting voices of his heart and brain. The cool breeze along with rain were unable to free him from feeling chocked. Today, first time in life, he felt the need to put his step on the rain. Why he felt that the rain, which he hated so much, would give him answer to his conflicting heart. He knew the answer was her. She loved rain. He hated rain. Rain took away everything from her and him, leaving them alone to deal with hardship of life. She loved rain, as rain had given her everything. Rain has given her Maan. Today when she was not with him, how can he hate something that she loves so much? After long pause at the gate, Maan placed his first step on the rain. The heavy rain completely drenched him in just couple of steps. He went ahead on the walking pavement, looked up and let the rain drain him. He closed his eyes to get flashes on her pleading eyes in front of him. Her beautiful eyes had looked at him with expectations and faith, but he failed miserably. Unable to bear those innocent, expectant eyes, he let the rain take his pain away. For her, Maan was everything. Her world revolved around him, and today he had snatched that everything from her. He felt suffocated even in heavy rain. He opened his arms wide, looked up at rain and cried loudly, "Jeet!" Feeling strength less, he slid down on ground and sat on his knees. His hands on his thighs, he kept crying, letting tears roll down his cheeks, mingling it with water droplets of rain. Maan somehow gathered strength and walked few more steps, letting the heavy rain wetting him more. He sat on the bench and smiled as he remembered their conversation when he must be some 13 to 14 years and Geet some 8 to 9 years old. "Geet, come inside. Rain is causing all mud and dirt. This rain will make you sick like last year." "No, Maan, rain doesn't cause dirt. It washes away all and make you fresh. I love dancing in rain." And she ran far away, enjoying the feel of rain. Maan hated it, but he had no option. He went in rain to bring her back to their tent. Last year she got sick due to rain, and he had to run to local dispensary with her. Off-course orphan kids from slum does not have money to visit air-conditioned hospitals. He got free medicine from dispensary itself. He hated rain. It always brought misery in his life. It had done the same to her, but she loved it because rain made her meet him. They were together because of rain. She had no grudges with rain, as she did not remember actually what happened when she was some 4 to 5 years old. It was him who had told her the story of the monster flood, which separated him from his mother and her from her grandmother. His mother had made him sit on the rescue boat, and then took little Geet from her grandmother's arm and placed in his lap. Little Geet was excited to be seated in the boat and finding a new friend on whose lap she was placed. Maan was big enough to know that the flood was destructing everything in their slum. His eyes at that moment was fixed on his mother, while Geet's on her new friend's face. "Maan, go. Take care of this girl, Geet. We will be coming when the next rescue boat arrive. I will meet you there." But Maan was scared and his fear came true, when after waiting for a day, neither his mother arrived nor Geet's grandmother. All slum kids were there and only few adults. Adults, who themselves were devastated and had to make arrangements for their kids. The rain had poured more in coming days, only making condition worse, and news kept coming to his eager ears that most left on that slum lost their lives. He had waited and waited for days for his mother and Geet's grandmother to come. But the little boy did not have advantage of just waiting. He had to run to catch the food packet that the rescue team dropped from the helicopter. He would somehow manage to get 2 packets, one for little girl left with him and one for himself. Thack, he was brought back to present by the police officer hitting the side of bench he was sitting on. "Hey, why are you sitting here? Are you drunk or homeless?" asked policeman rudely. He was used to that tone from most, since childhood. "No, sir, I am not drunk, sir. My home is there in that society, and I am a clerk in private company, sir." Okay, policeman calmed down. "Then why are you sitting here, brother? Wife threw you out?" He laughed in joke, but it hit Maan. "I pushed her out. out of the house I bought for her, pushed her out of my life, when all she had only wished was to be by my side. How could I? He felt chocked again as he cried with his hand on his face. Policemen patted him and left, understanding that the man was in some turmoil. Mon too stood and kept walking. The rain was still pouring, and for the first time he wanted it to keep pouring. Rain connected him with her. How could he ask for it to stop? How he wished, if this rain can even wash away all the conflicts that he has in his heart. His heart was loudly crying and shouting at him. His decision to send her away was wrong. But his mind had argued and won. How could he be wrong? It was one chance for him to take her out of poverty. Poor people don't get such golden opportunity to be rich. She was getting one. How could he be selfish to listen to her and keep her with him? Rich man, Nishant, had asked her hand. He was going to make her his wife. How could he not let it happen? What will she get with him? His poverty, his struggle to keep inflow of bread, butter, and house? His clerk job and private factory, all it could give him was minimum decent food and clothing, and rest salary would only go into the loan of the house and motorbike that he had got. He laughed sarcastically. He got these for her. What will he do with them now? Now the wind was so strong along with the rain, as if all were trying to move him. The huge trees were making sound. He felt they were all shouting at him for breaking her heart. Yes, he was a sinner to break her heart. He was her world, and he has pushed her far from her world. But if she is getting better world, she has to leave this trash world of his. Mon, please don't send me to marry that Nishant. I am yours, Mon. I have only thought of you as my husband. How can you let someone marry me? Please, Mon, don't do this. Unable to see her tears, he had turned his back to her. We are no husband-wife, Geet. What we did was not true. It was all childish act to save ourselves from questions of these people. I had told you even then that it was all not true at all. She had held his wrist and turned him towards herself. Why don't you remember what I told you? That you will only be my husband and nothing we said was lie for me. I can't breathe without you, Mon. How will those monies keep me happy? As he kept walking alone, the speeding car splashed water from puddle, and the mud-filled water came all over him. Unlike most times, today he did not mind. She loved to play in the puddle of rain. He again went back to past of her love of rain. Mon had come back to their hut after a whole day of work. First he had gone to local coaching, and then after his coaching, he had to work there itself to pay his tuition, Geet's tuition, and earn for minimal bread and butter. Mon could not leave study as it was his mother's wish. She wanted him to study like all legitimate kids of Karana G did in huge mansion. Being a slum kid, even at age of 9 to 10, Mon knew he was illegitimate kid of that monster Karana G. But his mother always convinced him. Karana G married me secretly. We loved each other. Yes, and he left you in this slum after you had me inside you. Had you agreed to drop me, he would have happily kept you. And he had earned strong slap. Study or you will keep talking slangs like this. Karana G's kids don't talk like this. I am only your son, Mon had shouted and ran outside. He very well knew from slum gossip that Karana G was smitten by his mother's beauty and had sweet-talked his mother, who worked at his mansion as housemaid. When she had denied his physical approach, he had secretly married her to convince for physical relation. But once Mon was inside her, she got reality check in hardest ways.